this video, we're going to walk through how to make a graph in Excel when you have multiple series. And so basically putting multiple lines on a given graph. And so you need to just have some data. In this case, it's the question 3 in chapter 10, but I'm going to try to keep this fairly general if we can. So assuming you can generate your data somehow, I've just copied it into a separate sheet here. A reminder about copying in Excel: if you're using Excel and formulas and you copy, the default will be to copy or to paste with the formula and the cell references and everything. And what you might want to do sometimes is do this for example. So if I copy and then I go somewhere else, you can hit paste, but notice there's a tab here. You want to paste values, and then if you look up here, it's just a number instead of being like the result of a formula. It's just a number, and so that's what you want. Otherwise, if you try to like copy it to a new sheet or something, you'll lose your reference. So here we have our data, and there's something unique about this because I've labeled it, I guess these are technically volumes, and this is pH, which is a y value. So the weird thing is here, it looks kind of like Excel would probably think pH is your x, and you have a bunch of different volumes at a given pH. But what really we want is the pH at a given volume. So volumes here are the x values, and pH is the y value. And so one way we can do this is to just open a graph and start adding series, and then I'll give you a second way after we do it once. So we can just open a chart. I didn't know I was going to do that. I didn't have anything selected. Well, what I want to do is, once we have a chart, even if it's empty, I'm going to delete these as if we had just a blank canvas here, right? So here's like a chart area, and there's nothing in it, and I want to add data. So one way I can do that is to select data and hit the little plus. And then what I get here is name, x values, and y values. This is what we're going to focus on. And this little button here makes the data source disappear, and then you can type in or just give it a reference. So notice now here it says strong. I could have written the word strong. You can use strings. You can type, but you can also reference the cell. The x values are going to be here, and then you can just hit enter. And then the y values are going to be pH, and we can hit enter, and we can just test it now and see. If I hit OK, then I get, that looks right. And it's even labeled with the legend down here. This is strong. Now if I want to add more data, I'm going to add another series. Its name will be pKa2. The x values, I'm going to highlight pKa2. And notice it's referencing E2 through E23. Hit enter. Y values are going to be pH again, and hit enter. So at this point, I want to copy this for y values because it's going to be the same every time. So then each time I make a new series, I can just hit Command V or Control V and not have to go through the process every time. But if I hit OK, I can see that this is looking good because pK2 is pretty strong, so it looks fairly similar. Okay, let's keep going. If I want to add pKa4, I'm going to hit enter, x values, enter, and then y values, I'm going to hit Command V, and that'll give me, if I want to just double check, yeah, it's highlighting those, so it's good. Okay, I'm going to add pKa6, so my x values, oops, I think I wanted that to be the name, yeah. And here are the x values, hit enter, y values, paste, series 5, did it again, name, x values, and paste. Next series, just to show you, you can also just type it in. Here's the x values and y. And then I'm going to hit OK. And there they are. So it looks just like the textbook, figure 1011, but I have multiple series. You can highlight any one and see the points, and it'll also show you the data. And then it's just a matter of, formatting a little bit. In our particular case here, the x-axis is volume added, and so negative numbers don't make any sense. Also, if I want to make it look like the text, I can adjust the range. Like so, and there we go. We even have the legend down here, and you can add axis labels, right? If we wanted to add axis titles, this would be VA in milliliters. And you'd want to you'd add titles to the vertical axis and then a chart title as well. Okay, now another way you might be able to do this is a little bit more work up front, but it can save you time in the series. I've already gone ahead and made a second sheet here where basically I interspersed pH between each volume column. So basically here's X and Y, here's X and Y, here's X and Y, right? And so you've kind of helped Excel, you've organized your data in a helpful way, really. And I did it, again, just by copying and then sliding, right? You could slide everything over and then copy and paste pH there. So that's what I did. And now if I highlight everything, this might work for you, it might not. But in my Mac, I have a recommended charts option. If I click on that, it gives me some different options. So I have like scatter plot, stacked column, stacked bar. So various ways that you can represent this. And this top one actually is exactly what we want. Right? It's alternating X, Y, X, Y, X, Y. And so it automatically gives me the plot. So that's another way. The first way is more general and teaches you more about Excel, but this way gets the job done. If you don't like the dots or the data points, you can just highlight the whole chart and change chart type, and we can change it. So we'll get rid of the actual points. And another thing you might notice though is that the legend says pH, 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 pH. And that's because typically the Y values are the ones that give it the legend names. And so you can go in and just change those manually, or if you select data, you see the names are all pH, so we can change these, and it adjusts here. I suppose you could probably just change the headings here and swap them, but then you have to be really careful because if you come back to this later, you might confuse yourself and think you've swapped these. So these are just the headings. So that's another way you can do it. So two ways. to put multiple series on a single graph in Excel using this homework question 3A. And so question 3B, you do either one of those approaches again. Okay, hope this was helpful. Talk to you later.